He struts into the courtroom like it's his stage. Designer suit, smug grin, dripping arrogance. When Judge Judy questions him, he scoffs. "You're just a TV judge." The air snaps silent. Gasps ripple. He smirks, convinced the cameras make him untouchable. But then Judy leans forward, calm, razor-sharp, unstoppable. 10 seconds later, his grin collapses, his lawyer turns ghost white, and the case takes a brutal twist. What she says next doesn't just silence him, it obliterates his ego in front of millions. Before we dive in, tell me, where are you watching from? And if you love seeing arrogance crushed, smash that subscribe button. He doesn't walk into the courtroom. He arrives as if the room has been waiting for him, a designer suit slicing through the air, a smirk sharp enough to draw blood. The cameras haven't even settled when Landon Pierce makes his entrance. The doors swing open and he strides in like he's stepping onto the cover of a magazine. The lights catch on his gold cufflinks, reflecting a glitter he clearly believes belongs to him. He doesn't look left, doesn't look right, just straight ahead at his imagined audience, chin lifted like royalty surveying a kingdom. The studio crowd murmurs, unsure whether to admire the confidence or recoil from it. Landon interprets the noise as applause. The camera tracks him in a slow glide as he approaches the defendant's podium. He rests one elbow on it casually, like a man leaning against a bar at a party he planned himself. His attorney stands beside him, already looking like he's regretting the day he agreed to take this case. Across the room, quiet and composed, stands Maya Torres. Plain black blazer, neatly clipped stack of documents, confidence built from necessity, not ego. Her eyes flicker toward Landon, one brief, steady glance, not intimidated, not impressed, just ready. Judge Judy lifts her head, peering over the rims of her glasses. Her courtroom is a machine, efficient, unforgiving, tuned to her rhythm. Today, that rhythm pauses. Her eyes settle on Landon. He smiles at her like he's greeting a hostess at a five-star restaurant. "Afternoon," he says, dripping charm. Judy doesn't return the smile. "Name," she says, "Landon Pierce." He offers it like a brand name, expecting recognition to carry weight. Judy scribbles something without looking up. "The plaintiff, Ms. Torres, is claiming you caused significant property damage to her business." "We'll begin with," Landon interrupts with a lazy wave of his hand. "Before we start, Your Honor, I just want to say I'm happy to be on the show." The room stiffens. Cameras tilt, capturing the tension sharpening the air. Judy lifts her gaze slowly, very slowly. "This is not a show for you, Mr. Pierce. This is a courtroom." He grins, leaning in. Right, a TV courtroom." A ripple, not quite a gasp, more like the collective intake of breath before lightning hits. Judy places her pen down. "Mr. Pierce, I decide the tone in my courtroom, not you." But Landon isn't listening. He's studying the monitors, checking his angles, adjusting his tie for an audience he can't even see. Arrogance radiates off him like heat from a furnace. The camera pans back to Judy. Her expression goes still, the kind of stillness that precedes consequences. She folds her glasses, sets them on the bench like a declaration. "Mr. Pierce," her voice is calm, razor thin. "Is arrogance something your family teaches, or did you build this yourself?" Landon's smirk twitches, but doesn't fall. Not yet. Judy leans forward, eyes narrowing. "Because before we continue, we're going to find out exactly what kind of man you are." Laughter ripples through the courtroom, brief, uncomfortable. Landon hears it and thinks he caused it. Everyone else knows he is the joke. The camera cuts back to Landon, who straightens his suit jacket like he's preparing for a photo shoot. He shifts his weight, angles his chin, and flashes a rehearsed smile toward the nearest lens. The operator doesn't return the energy. He just keeps filming, expression flat. But Landon doesn't notice. He's too busy basking in his own glow. Judge Judy exhales through her nose, a quiet, controlled release that betrays mild irritation. "Ms. Torres," she says, turning away from Landon as though he's background noise, "state your claim." Maya steps forward. Her voice is steady, warm, carrying the exhaustion of someone who's had to explain the same nightmare far too many times. "Your Honor, Mr. Pierce rented my event space for a private celebration. When I returned the next morning," Landon interrupts, waving a dismissive hand, It was a birthday, Your Honor, a small gathering, nothing crazy. Maya continues without acknowledging him. The space was destroyed. Speakers smashed, furniture overturned, the lighting rig collapsed. The cleanup alone cost more than $7,000. Landon snorts. Actually snorts. $7,000, that's like the cost of my watch band. He flicks his wrist toward the camera, showing off diamonds that sparkle like smugness. A few audience members shift uncomfortably. The laugh they expected from him doesn't land. Judy cuts him a look sharp enough to slice leather. Mr. Pierce, nobody is interested in your accessories. He leans in, smirking. Trust me, Judge, millions of viewers care. The courtroom freezes for a beat. The arrogance is suffocating, thickening the air. Judy turns to Maya, giving her a small nod. Continue, Maya swallows. I attempted to contact Mr. Pierce several times to resolve the damages without escalating the matter. He ignored all communication. Landon shrugs. I get hundreds of messages a day. Most of them aren't exactly important. Judy tilts her head, studying him. So you believe you're too important to respond to someone whose property you damaged? Hey, Landon says, raising his palms theatrically. I'm just being honest. Honesty, Judy replies, isn't your issue. Courtesy is. He chuckles softly, an attempt to look charming on camera. But the laughter doesn't spread. The audience sits still. Even his lawyer avoids eye contact, subtly inching away as if secondhand embarrassment were contagious. Maya lifts a photo. Your Honor, these were taken the morning after the event. The camera zooms in, broken glass, overturned tables, torn drapery, a nightmare in wide shot. Judy raises a brow. Mr. Pierce, any explanation? He stretches his arms, cracking his knuckles like an athlete warming up. I mean, people party. Things get messy, it's not a big deal. She'll make the money back. Judy's eyes go cold. A court, she says, voice crisp, doesn't measure damage in your convenience. Landon rolls his eyes, a move that sucks the air from the room. Judy leans forward, tapping her pen against the bench with slow, ominous rhythm. Mr. Pierce, she says, would you like to revise that answer before I record it as your sworn testimony? She doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't posture for the cameras. Yet somehow, when Maya speaks, the entire courtroom leans in. Landon's smug expression hovers in the air like a bad smell, but Maya doesn't even glance at him. She lifts her binder, opens it with careful fingers, and steps closer to the podium. The lighting shifts, soft on her, harsh on him, like the courtroom itself is choosing sides. Ms. Torres, Judy says gently. Start from the beginning. Maya nods. Your Honor, my business is all I have. It's a small event space, built after years of saving. I host workshops, small weddings, charity events. Losing even one weekend puts me behind on rent. Landon exhales loudly, rolling his eyes. Tragic. The word lands with a thud. The audience reacts, not with laughter this time, but with disapproval. A quiet ripple of murmurs buzzes through the room. Judy shoots him a look. Mr. Pierce, if you speak out of turn again, I'll remove you. Understood? He shrugs, defiant. But the flicker in his eyes suggests he's beginning to realize the cameras aren't helping him. Maya continues, unfazed. The night of his event, I received no complaints. No warnings. When I arrived the next morning, everything was destroyed. The floors were sticky from spilled alcohol. The furniture was broken. The sound system was ripped out of the wall mounts. My staff and I worked for hours just to make it usable again. She pauses, not for drama, but because the memory visibly sits heavy on her chest. Landon interrupts again, smirking. Look, accidents happen. People had fun. You made the space too fragile. Maya turns her head, just enough for her eyes to meet his. It's not anger. It's disappointment, the kind that hurts more. Mr. Pierce, she says quietly, you didn't even stay to see the damage. Her voice trembles, but only slightly, just enough for the camera to catch humanity where his arrogance sits empty. Judy leans in. Ms. Torres, did you attempt to resolve this before filing? Maya nods, lifting a packet of printed emails. Yes, Your Honor. I emailed him, his assistant, and even his social media business page. No response. Not even a, we'll look into it. I wasn't trying to fight him. I just needed help repairing what he broke. The courtroom softens. Even the bailiff's posture shifts, arms relaxing at his sides. Landon scoffs. I get hundreds of messages a day. You can't expect me to read all of them. Judy lowers her glasses. I expect you to take responsibility when your actions harm someone else. Fame doesn't excuse negligence. For the first time, Landon looks away. Not because he's ashamed, but because he doesn't know how to handle someone speaking truth without fear. Maya places one last document on the podium. Your Honor, I just wanted him to acknowledge what he did. That's all. The simplicity of the request slices deeper than any accusation. Even Judy's expression shifts, not softer, but sharper, like she's seeing a picture come into focus. Judy turns back to Landon, voice measured. You ignored her then, she says. Her gaze hardens. You won't ignore what comes next. He inhales sharply, shoulders rolling back. A performance breath, like he's preparing for a punchline. Only the punchline ends up detonating his entire world. The tension sits heavy, coiled like a spring beneath the courtroom lights. Judy hasn't looked away from Landon since her last sentence. The audience feels it, the shift, the temperature dropping, the storm gathering. Landon mistakes the silence for an opportunity. He leans forward on the podium, casual confidence dripping off him like expensive cologne. Your Honor, he says, stretching the title as if he's humoring her. Look, with all due respect. Judy raises one eyebrow. Landon doesn't notice. He's too busy hearing himself speak. This is just TV. You're a TV judge. I'm not actually worried. The words land like a slap. A sharp collective intake of breath ripples across the room. Even the cameras seem to freeze, their red recording lights flickering as if stunned. His lawyer slowly closes his eyes, silently begging for the earth to swallow them both. Maya's expression doesn't change, but her fingers tighten around the binder, knuckles whitening with disbelief. Judy doesn't move, not immediately. She simply lets the words hang, lets Landon hear them again in the suffocating quiet he created. The stillness becomes unbearable. Finally, Judy leans back in her chair, folding her hands neatly atop the bench. Her composure is not calm, it's precise, the kind of calm you see before a controlled demolition. Mr. Pierce, she says softly, you have no idea what you just said. Landon smirks, mistaking her softness for intimidation. Come on, everyone knows this is entertainment. Cameras, lights, audience. It's not like a real court. The bailiff shifts, jaw tightening. A woman in the audience whispers, "Oh my God," as though she's watching someone walk willingly into traffic. Judy removes her glasses with infuriating slowness. You think accountability stops existing when cameras turn on? She asks. You think this courtroom is a playground for your ego? He shrugs. I think it's all, for show. Judy motions to the bailiff. Bring me the sealed folder. A murmur sweeps the audience, anticipation mixed with dread. The bailiff retrieves a thick manila envelope from the clerk's desk and places it before Judy. Landon's smirk falters for the first time. Judy taps the envelope. This, she says, was submitted by the plaintiff before court began. It contains evidence you should be very concerned about. His jaw tightens. What evidence? Evidence, she replies, peeling the seal, that contradicts every single claim you've made so far. The sound of the seal tearing echoes through the chamber. Landon shifts, uncomfortable. His confidence flickers like a candle meeting wind. Judy withdraws a stack of glossy photographs, a USB drive, and a printed timestamp. She looks up at him, eyes sharpened, voice steady. Mr. Pierce, she says, you've told us your version of events. She lifts the evidence. Now let's see the truth. Judy gestures toward the monitors. Roll the footage. The screen flickers to life. A glow washes over Landon's face, and with it, the final traces of his confidence begin to burn away. The monitors hum softly before the video snaps into focus. At first, all the courtroom sees is chaos, shifting lights, booming music, silhouettes moving wildly. A typical party scene, until the camera steadies, and there he is, Landon. Not the polished version standing in the courtroom, not the curated influencer persona, but a drunken, unfiltered mess. His hair's damp with sweat. His blazer hangs off one shoulder. He's holding a champagne bottle like a microphone. The audio crackles, then sharpens. This place is going to need a whole renovation after tonight, Party Landon shouts, raising the bottle triumphantly. Who cares? My family pays for everything. A few audience members gasp. Maya's hand drifts to her chest, stunned by the sound of his voice admitting what she had suspected all along. Landon stiffens. His real-time self watches helplessly as his video self continues to boast on screen, stumbling onto a table and knocking it off balance. Laughter erupts in the background, wild, chaotic, oblivious. Then comes the line that seals the disaster. They can send me a bill. My daddy'll write a check before breakfast. I don't clean up after parties. I start them. His attorney's face drains of color. He sinks slightly lower in his seat, wishing invisibility were a legal defense. Landon shoots to his feet. This is out of context, he blurts, voice cracking. Judy doesn't even glance at him. Sit down, Mr. Pierce. But he keeps going, flustered now, limbs twitchy with panic. Someone edited that. That's not what... Sit. Down. Judge Judy's voice cuts the air like a blade. He drops into his seat, fuming. The footage continues, more damning by the second. The camera catches him kicking a speaker stand, then tossing a stack of folding chairs like toys, then slipping, laughing, insisting, "It's fine. They'll fix it. They always fix it." The final seconds are the worst. He leans into the camera, unsteady, smug, eyes glassy. Honestly, I could burn this place down and it wouldn't matter. Money solves everything. The screen freezes on his face, distorted by the harsh flash of the party lights. Silence swallows the room. Judy inhales slowly, thoughtfully. Mr. Pierce, she says, does that look or sound, taken out of context, to you? He swallows hard. His jaw clenches. Sweat beads along his hairline. People joke when they drink. Destruction isn't a joke, Judy says, and neither is your attitude. The audience murmurs. Even the bailiff looks pitying for a moment. Just a moment. Landon tries to speak again, but his attorney touches his arm, whispering urgently, "Stop talking." Landon shakes him off. "I didn't do all that. It doesn't prove..." Judy lifts a hand, silencing him effortlessly. "We're not finished," she says. "The footage raises questions, and I intend to get answers." She glances toward the door. "Bailiff," she says, "bring in the next witness." Landon's smirk flickers out completely as the door creaks open. A familiar silhouette steps into the light, and his face drains to white. The door opens with a slow, echoing creak. Landon's jaw tightens. Because the man walking in is the last person he expected to see. The bailiff steps aside, revealing Elias Grant, once Landon's closest friend, now wearing the expression of someone who has carried too many secrets for too long. He walks with careful steps, refusing to make eye contact with Landon, as though proximity alone might reignite old loyalties he no longer wants to feel. Landon sputters. "What? Why is he here?" His voice trembles with indignation and something he rarely displays. Fear. Judge Judy doesn't entertain the question. "Mr. Grant, please approach the witness stand." Elias nods, his throat bobbing as he swallows. The moment he's sworn in, the atmosphere shifts. Tighter, heavier. Even the cameras seem to zoom in instinctively, realizing the turning point arriving. Judy folds her hands. "Mr. Grant, did you attend the event held by Mr. Pierce?" "Yes, Your Honor," Elias says softly. His voice is steady but layered with regret. "Did you witness the state of the venue during the party?" He nods. "I saw a lot, more than I wanted to." Landon snaps, "Eli, come on, don't do this. You know it wasn't that bad." Elias finally looks at him, and that look is devastating. It's the expression someone wears when disappointment has replaced admiration, and reality has replaced friendship. "Landon," Elias says quietly, "you told me to lie. You said if anyone asked, I should say the venue was already damaged. You even texted me a whole script." Gasps erupt. Landon's lawyer rubs his temples. "That's not true!" Landon shouts, half rising from his seat. His voice is cracking now, the arrogance fraying like cheap thread. Judy slams her gavel once. "Sit down!" Landon collapses back into his seat, chest heaving. Elias continues, almost trembling now. "You said no one could touch you. That money always buys a way out. That even if Judge Judy got mad, it didn't matter because she was just a TV judge." The room goes dead silent. Judy's expression doesn't move, but something sharp flickers behind her eyes. The audience watches, breath held, waiting for the explosion. Landon tries to recover, leaning forward. Elias, you're twisting it. We were drunk. We were joking. Elias shakes his head. You meant it, and you told me to help you cover it up. I can't do that anymore. The soft tremor in his voice makes the moment heavier than any shouting match. Maya's eyes glisten, not in triumph, but in relief. Finally, the truth is echoing from someone other than her. Landon looks around, searching for someone, anyone, to back him. No one moves. His own attorney stares at the table, shoulders sagging. Judy leans forward, voice crisp as winter air. Mr. Pierce, credibility matters. And right now, yours is disappearing faster than your excuses. Landon's face drains of color. Judy reaches for a document on the bench. I'm about to show you exactly why your version of events no longer holds up. If you were in Judge Judy's seat right now, would Landon deserve leniency or a harsh lesson? Judy doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't glare or threaten. She simply begins to connect dots, and that alone makes Landon panic. Judge Judy places a stack of papers on the bench, neatly aligned, a quiet but unmistakable signal. The real version of the night is about to unfold, on her terms, not his. Mr. Pierce, she begins, tapping the top sheet, I'm going to walk through exactly what happened at that event, and you will tell me if any part of this is incorrect. Landon shifts. His attorney, who is practically melted into his seat, keeps one hand over his mouth as if holding in existential dread. Judy lifts the first document. This is the rental agreement you signed. Timestamp, 4:57 p.m. She points to the signature. This is you, correct? Landon nods stiffly. Yeah, that's me. Good. Now, Ms. Torres checked the venue at 6:09 p.m., everything intact. Photographs included. She holds up crystal clear images, spotless floors, neatly aligned chairs, intact equipment. She doesn't wait for his acknowledgement. At 9:42 p.m., she continues, picking up the next sheet. Noise complaints were filed by 2 neighboring businesses. Maya looks down, remembering the calls. Landon looks up, feigning surprise. Those could have been from anyone, Judy interrupts with a flick of her wrist. We're not guessing. We're following evidence. She turns to the bailiff. Please display Exhibit D. The monitors light up again, this time with text messages that Landon sent. Judy reads them aloud, each word slicing through his defenses. Tell them to relax. We paid for the space. If anything breaks, I'll toss her a check. It's just a small business. She'll survive. Maya closes her eyes, a single breath shaking through her shoulders. Landon leans forward, voice cracking. Those were jokes. It's tone. Judy cuts him off sharply. Tone doesn't change facts. She lifts more papers, receipts, timestamps, noise complaint logs, each one added to the growing chain of accountability. The courtroom watches it happen like a forensic reconstruction, piece by piece, moment by moment, excuse by excuse, evaporating. Then, Judy picks up the final item. A series of short clips pulled from the partygoers' social media, unedited, unscripted, undeniable. Landon shoving tables aside to make a better dance floor. Landon slamming a speaker against a pillar. Landon laughing as someone yells, "Dude, stop! You're gonna break it!" He doesn't stop. As the last clip ends, Judy leans forward, elbows resting lightly on the bench. Mr. Pierce, do you see a single frame here where you attempted to prevent damage? Where you showed concern? Where you acted responsibly in any way? His silence answers for him. Judy's voice softens, but the softness is dangerous. Responsibility is not something you inherit, Mr. Pierce. It's something you practice. Landon swallows hard, eyes darting as if searching for escape. Now, Judy says, lifting one final sheet, there's still one more piece you need to explain. She taps the page with her finger. This message, she says, sent from your phone. Explain it. The camera zooms in on Landon as his face drains of all color. The moment Judy lifts the paper, the room changes. Not the lighting, not the sound. It's Landon, his posture collapsing before a single word is spoken. Judge Judy holds the page like a mirror he cannot avoid. The text sits printed in stark black ink, damning in its simplicity. She doesn't read it immediately. Instead, she studies Landon, the way he fidgets, the sudden tremor in his jaw, the microsecond flash of recognition. He knows exactly what's on that paper. Mr. Pierce, she begins, her voice level, This message was sent from your phone at 2:13 a.m., roughly 20 minutes after the venue damage occurred. Landon shifts in his seat, fingers gripping the edge of the podium. Texts can be faked, he mutters. Judy's brows lift. Are you claiming this one is fabricated? Landon hesitates. His silence is an answer. Judy turns the page toward the camera. The monitors light up with the message, make the problem disappear. Deny everything. She can't prove any of it. Maya exhales sharply, the kind of breath someone takes when justice suddenly feels possible. The audience murmurs, but Judy silences them with a raised hand. Mr. Pierce, Judy says, would you like to explain this? Landon swallows. I didn't mean it literally. I was venting, frustrated. People say stuff. Judy taps her pen against the bench, a slow, rhythmic beat. You instructed someone to deny the damage. You attempted to set up a cover story. And you did this knowing Ms. Torres's livelihood depended on that venue being functional. His lawyer whispers, don't say anything. Landon ignores him. You're twisting it, he protests, voice rising. Everyone was exaggerating. My assistant freaks out over nothing. Your assistant, Judy repeats, responded 1 minute later, understood. I'll say the space was damaged before we arrived. The courtroom freezes. Landon closes his eyes just long enough for the camera to catch the flicker of defeat. Judy continues. This message wasn't sent in the heat of the moment. You were sober, you were calculating. This was not a boy making a mistake at a party. This was a man attempting to evade accountability. Maya looks down at her hands, her shoulders trembling, not with fear, but with vindication. For the first time, Landon's voice breaks. I didn't think it would get this far. Judy leans forward, voice sharp enough to cut the air. That's the point, Mr. Pierce. You never think about the people you hurt, only the image you maintain. The room goes quiet again. Then the bailiff steps forward, leaning toward Judy's bench. He whispers something in hushed, urgent tones. Judy's eyes sharpen, her expression shifting into something colder and far more dangerous. She straightens slowly, gaze locking onto Landon. Bring her in, Judy orders. Landon's head jerks up. Her? The side door opens with a soft, chilling click. A woman steps through, elegant, composed, familiar. Landon's face drains of color as he whispers, Mom? Her heels click softly as she enters, a sound so delicate, yet it hits Landon like a verdict. Because if she's here, he knows the fall has already begun. The side door closes behind Evelyn Pierce with a gentle click, but the silence that follows is thunderous. The cameras tilt instinctively toward her. Elegant blazer, immaculate posture, composure, etched into every line of her face. She looks like the kind of woman who negotiates million-dollar contracts before breakfast. But beneath her polished exterior is something raw, something heavy. She walks to the witness stand without looking at her son. Landon is frozen, eyes wide, mouth parted, disbelief carved into his features. Mom, why would you? Judy raises a hand, silencing him immediately. Mr. Pierce, you will not speak until I direct you to. Evelyn finally turns her gaze toward her son, and the look she gives him is not anger. It is disappointment, quiet, exhausted, years in the making. Mrs. Pierce, Judy says gently, please state your name for the record. Evelyn Grace Pierce, she replies, voice steady but carrying an undercurrent of strain. And your relation to the defendant? She hesitates. I am his mother. The hesitation is louder than anything else she could have said. Landon leans forward, desperate. Mom, tell her this is blown out of proportion. Tell her. Evelyn closes her eyes, a soft inhale, then she speaks. Landon, I did not come here to fix this for you. The courtroom stills. Even Judy lifts her brows slightly, struck by the weight of the confession. Evelyn continues, voice trembling despite her effort to steady it. Your father and I have spent years paying for the damage you leave behind. Financial, emotional, reputational. We told ourselves you would grow out of it. She swallows. But you didn't. Landon's face hardens with panic. Why would you say that on TV? Do you know how this looks? Evelyn's expression fractures, hurt showing through the cracks of her elegance. You're worried about optics? When a young woman's livelihood has been destroyed? Maya lowers her gaze, unsure whether to feel vindicated or heartbroken for the family unraveling before her. Landon tries again, voice cracking, "Mom, stop, please!" Evelyn shakes her head. "No, this time you stop." Her words land like a physical blow. She reaches into her purse and pulls out a sealed envelope, the same one she had given the bailiff earlier. She hands it to Judy with trembling fingers. "This," she says, "is the part Landon never wanted public." Landon's eyes widen. "Mom, don't." Evelyn's stare sharpens. "If consequences are the only language you understand, then so be it." The audience collectively leans forward, tension coiling like a drawn bowstring. Judy holds the envelope, weighing its significance. "Mrs. Pierce, does this pertain directly to Mr. Pierce's behavior regarding the plaintiff?" "Yes," Evelyn whispers, "and to what he's been hiding from everyone, even himself." Landon's breath stumbles. Judy slides a finger under the seal of the envelope. The courtroom holds its breath. "Let's see," she says, "what your mother believes the world needs to know." Judy breaks the seal with a slow, deliberate motion. Paper slides against paper, soft, deadly, and Landon's entire world trembles before a single word is read. The envelope opens with a gentle rip, but the sound slices through the courtroom like a blade. Judy draws out a crisp set of documents, formal, embossed, unmistakably corporate. Her eyes skim the first page, and something shifts in her expression. Not surprise, recognition. Landon senses it instantly. "Mom, what did you give her?" Evelyn doesn't answer. She folds her hands tightly in her lap, knuckles turning white. Judy lifts the document slightly. "This," she says, "is a letter. A very significant one." The cameras zoom in as Judy begins reading aloud, her voice steady but carrying the punch of revelation. Effective immediately, due to repeated reckless behavior, unauthorized spending, and damage to company property, Landon Pierce is suspended from all financial access to the Pierce family trust. A murmur ripples through the courtroom. Landon blinks rapidly, shaking his head. No, that wasn't supposed to. Mom, why would you?" But Judy isn't finished. She flips the page. "Continued access will be reconsidered only if a demonstrable change in conduct occurs, and pending review after any outstanding legal matters." The implication hits harder than any accusation. Landon was cut off before the party ever happened. His voice breaks with panic. "Mom, you said this was temporary. You said—" "I said," Evelyn interrupts softly, "that I hoped you would take it seriously. Instead, you rented a venue you couldn't afford, destroyed it, and tried to bury the damage." Maya looks down at her hands, moved not by pity, but by the quiet tragedy of a mother forced to expose her child. Judy continues turning pages, each flipping sound echoing like a hammer stroke. "Mrs. Pierce," she says, "this letter is dated 3 weeks before the incident." "Yes," Evelyn whispers. "So Mr. Pierce was aware he was financially cut off when this occurred?" Landon's eyes widen. "No, I didn't know it would actually go through. Dad always cancels these things. This time I thought—" "You thought," Judy interjects coldly, "that consequences would skip you. Again." She taps the document with her pen, once, sharply. "Mr. Pierce, you represented yourself as a wealthy individual capable of covering damages. In reality, you had no financial backing, no intention of paying, and no regard for the plaintiff's losses." Landon stares at the floor, breathing shallow, panic creeping in fast. The audience watches with stunned fascination. This isn't entitlement anymore. This is exposure. Evelyn's voice cracks as she speaks again. "I didn't want this to happen on national television. But you leave me no choice. The world cannot keep cleaning up after you, Landon. And neither can I." Those words land heavier than the footage, heavier than the texts, because they aren't evidence. They're heartbreak. Judy gathers the documents into a neat stack, setting them down with quiet finality. "Mr. Pierce," she says, "do you have anything to say about this?" Landon opens his mouth, but nothing comes out. Not arrogance, not excuses, just silence. Judy leans forward, eyes narrowing with surgical precision. "Because if you think this is the worst of it, you're mistaken." Landon opens his mouth, but his attorney beats him to it, placing a trembling hand on his arm. A silent warning. "Stop digging." The courtroom feels different now, charged, brittle, as though one wrong word might split the room in half. Landon's swagger has evaporated. What remains is a panicked attempt at composure, his foot tapping, his fingers twitching, his breath shaking in uneven bursts. Judge Judy watches him carefully, like a surgeon deciding where to make the final incision. "Mr. Pierce," she says, voice cool but edged with steel, "you are free to respond." Landon attempts a steady inhale, but ends up catching on it, like a child trying to swallow tears before they form. You don't understand. These documents," he gestures wildly toward the stack in front of Judy. "They're being misinterpreted. My parents always exaggerate things. They were trying to scare me straight. It wasn't supposed to be public." His attorney finally stands, clearing his throat. "Your Honor, may I address the court privately?" Judy cuts him off. "No, you may not. Everything spoken in this room is on record, including your client's unraveling." The attorney deflates, sinking back down like a man accepting defeat. Judy turns to Maya. Her voice softens. "Ms. Torres, do you have anything to add?" Maya shakes her head. "No, Your Honor, I think everything has already been said and shown." Her restraint carries more strength than any accusation could. Judy shifts her attention back to Landon. "Mr. Pierce, you claimed the venue was already damaged. You claimed you would pay for repairs. You claimed the plaintiff exaggerated. All of that has been disproven." She lifts a hand, counting each point with her fingers. 1, your own footage. 2, your messages. 3, your friend's testimony. 4, your mother's evidence. Landon stares at the floor, jaw tight, breath shallow. Then Judy adds the final blow. "And 5, your attorney's growing concern." At that, his lawyer stands again, but this time with a painful honesty. "Your Honor, I cannot in good faith continue defending my client if he insists on providing false statements. Arbitration or not, I cannot represent someone who lies to the bench." A shocked hum ripples through the courtroom. Landon jerks his head up. "Wait, what? You can't just walk away." "I can," the attorney replies gently. "And I am." Landon's mouth hangs open. The betrayal, the abandonment, hits him visibly, his shoulders collapsing inward. Evelyn watches him, heartbreak and resolve warring behind her eyes. Judy surveys Landon like one evaluates a broken piece of machinery, not with malice, but with final clarity. "Mr. Pierce," she says, "this proceeding has shown a pattern, not a moment, a pattern of entitlement, deceit, and deliberate manipulation." Landon whispers, "I didn't mean for any of this to happen." Judy leans forward, eyes unwavering. Intentions do not erase impact, and lies do not change truth. The courtroom holds its breath. "Now," Judy continues, reaching for a final document on her bench, "there is one more matter we need to address, something you didn't disclose, something you hoped would never surface." Landon's head snaps up, fear flooding his expression. Judy lifts the paper slightly, her voice dropping to a razor's edge. "Mr. Pierce, you filed an insurance claim, didn't you?" The courtroom waits, silent, breath held. As Judy lifts a thick folder stamped "denied," Landon's pupils shrink. He knows exactly what's inside. Judge Judy sets the folder on the bench with a soft thud that echoes louder than any gavel strike. The embossed logo of Camden Mutual Insurance glints under the courtroom lights, catching Landon's eye like a threat crawling into focus. "Mr. Pierce," Judy says, opening the file, "you filed an insurance claim 3 days after the incident at Ms. Torres's venue." "Care to explain why?" Landon stammers. That was just precaution. People file claims all the time." Judy lifts a page between 2 fingers. "You stated, under penalty of perjury, that the plaintiff's venue was in poor condition, that equipment was faulty, and that your actions were the result of her negligent setup." Maya's lips part in shock. She clutches the edge of her podium as though grounding herself against another blow. But Judy isn't finished. She flips to a second page, notes printed in crisp blue ink. "This," she says, "is from the insurance investigator assigned to your claim, a third-party professional with no stake in either side." The courtroom leans in. "According to this report," Judy reads, "you privately admitted to mishandling equipment, consuming excessive alcohol, and probably ruining the venue beyond repair." Landon's face drains of all color. That's taken out of context. They twisted. No, Judy snaps the file shut. This is you, without cameras, without friends, without your mother to shield you. Evelyn bows her head, tears glistening at the edges of her lashes. Judy turns to Maya. Ms. Torres, did you know he submitted this claim blaming you? Maya shakes her head slowly. No, Your Honor, I had no idea. Her voice breaks on the last word, not from weakness, but from the weight of being lied about yet again. Landon grips the podium so tightly his knuckles blanch. The facade he'd worn since the moment he swaggered through the courtroom doors crumbles entirely. You don't understand, he whispers, desperation bleeding through every syllable. I didn't think it would go this far. I thought insurance would just cover it and that'd be it. I wasn't trying to hurt her. But you did, Judy cuts in, her voice firm but not unkind. And then you lied to escape the consequences. The audience is still, stunned, contemplative, even pitying. Judy opens the file once more, pulling out a final sheet. The claim was denied, Mr. Pierce, because the investigator determined you were at fault, completely, and you attempted to shift blame to an innocent business owner. She sets the document down with deliberate precision. Do you have anything at all you'd like to say to Ms. Torres before I issue my ruling? The courtroom falls into absolute silence. Landon looks at Maya. For the first time, no arrogance, no smirk, just a young man realizing he has harmed someone beyond what money or ego can excuse. His lips tremble. I'm sorry. But the apology sounds unfinished, tangled in fear, guilt, and the sudden weight of reality. Judy doesn't respond to the apology. She simply leans back, eyes narrowing, not in anger, but in assessment. Mr. Pierce, she says softly, a sorry spoken under pressure is not an apology. It's a reaction, and I'm not sure you understand the difference. The apology sits in the air, thin, uncertain, unfinished. A single cracked note in a courtroom that suddenly feels too quiet, and everyone can see it. Landon has no idea how to be sincere. For a long, breathless moment, no one speaks. Not Judy, not Maya, not even the cameras dare to move. Landon's words, I'm sorry, hang between them like a fragile bridge built too late, over damage that can't be undone. His shoulders sink forward, the weight of everything finally pressing down. Gone is the curated confidence, the smirk, the swagger. In its place stands a young man stripped bare of all his shields. Maya watches him, her eyes softening just enough to reveal compassion, but not enough to erase what she endured. Mr. Pierce, she says gently, I don't want to see you humiliated. I never did. I just wanted my business, my life, to be respected. Landon's breath trembles. I know, and I didn't respect it, or you, I thought. He stops, eyes dropping. I thought none of this would matter. There it is. The truth. Not the evidence-based truth, not the legal truth. The human truth. Judy leans forward slowly, her presence filling the space between them. Mr. Pierce, she says, you didn't think your actions mattered because you've spent your entire life insulated from consequences. He blinks hard, fighting the sting in his eyes. Evelyn looks at her son, heartbreak spilling into her voice. Landon, when you were little, you used to apologize before you even knew what you'd done wrong. Your heart used to be so big. She swallows. What happened? The question shatters him. His lips part, but the answer refuses to form. His gaze flicks toward her, wounded, searching, for forgiveness, for familiarity, for escape. None of it comes. I got used to being bailed out, he finally whispers. By you, by Dad, by money. Every time I messed up, someone fixed it, so I stopped thinking anything I did really hurt people. Evelyn covers her mouth, trying to hold in a sound that's part sob, part regret. Judy gives him no refuge. That's not an excuse. It's an admission. And while honesty is better than the lies you've told today, honesty isn't redemption. Landon nods slowly, tears finally gathering at the corners of his eyes. He looks at Maya, really looks at her, for the first time without ego, defense, or entitlement. I am sorry, he says again. This time, the words are quieter, heavier. If I could undo it, I would. If I could give you back the time, the money, the stress, I would. Maya closes her eyes, letting the sincerity sink in. Then she speaks, barely above a whisper. I don't need you to undo it. I just needed you to acknowledge it. The moment is achingly human, painful, raw, honest. Judy watches the exchange, her eyes narrowing thoughtfully, her voice a measured whisper of judgment and reflection. Mr. Pierce, she says, intent may open the door to apology, but accountability walks through it. Landon wipes his face with the back of his hand, trembling. Judy reaches for the case file, lifting it as sunlight glints off its edges. And this, she says quietly, is what accountability looks like. Judy doesn't slam the gavel. She doesn't raise her voice. Her stillness alone signals the moment is about to become unforgettable. Judge Judy lifts the case file, every page within it marked with the trail of destruction Landon left behind, physical, emotional, and now irrevocably public. The courtroom quiets into a reverent hush. Even the cameras seem to steady themselves. Maya Torres, Judy begins, her tone shifting into the steady authority that has defined decades of televised justice. You came here today seeking compensation for the damages to your business. You provided evidence. You spoke calmly. You told the truth. Maya straightens, breath trembling but hopeful. Judy turns toward Landon. Mr. Pierce, you came here today attempting to entertain, to charm, to manipulate. You attempted to minimize the damage, to shift blame, to lie, on camera, on paper, and in your insurance claim. Landon's throat tightens. Evelyn closes her eyes, bracing herself. Judy folds her hands. This court has reviewed the evidence, the witness testimony, and, most importantly, the consistent pattern of your behavior. Her voice sharpens. And this court finds you 100% responsible for the damages to Ms. Torres's venue. A small, audible gasp escapes Maya's lips. Relief, long overdue. Judy continues. You will reimburse her for the full cost of the damage, $7,482. She turns a page. In addition, you will compensate her for lost income due to canceled bookings stemming from the state of the venue. That totals an additional $3,900. Landon's eyes widen, not because of the money, but because he knows he doesn't actually have access to any of it. Judy isn't done. And, she finishes, resting her palms flat on the bench, you will issue a written apology drafted without legal assistance, without your mother, and without your PR team. An apology based on truth, not optics. Landon's lips press together, trembling. He nods, barely able to get the word out. Yes, Your Honor. Judy's gaze softens, not with sympathy, but with understanding. Mr. Pierce, arrogance is a cheap shield. It cracks the moment reality hits it. You built your identity on invincibility, and now you're discovering that invincibility is the easiest illusion to break. The words land heavy. Truth always does. Evelyn wipes a tear that escapes despite her composed exterior. Maya lets out a slow exhale, her shoulders finally lowering after the weight she's carried for months. Judy leans back. This judgment is final. The gavel comes down, not loudly, but firmly. A single echoing strike of justice. Landon flinches. Maya steadies herself. The courtroom releases its collective breath. Then, Judy delivers the line that will go viral within minutes. Court isn't a stage, Mr. Pierce. It's where truth walks in and ego walks out. The audience murmurs. The cameras freeze on Landon's stunned face, and Maya closes her eyes, finally allowing herself to feel the relief she's earned. As the bailiff approaches to escort them out, Landon hesitates, not in defiance, but in something new. Humility. Fragile, unfamiliar, and overdue. Do you think Landon's apology meant anything, or was it simply desperation in disguise? The gavel's echo fades slowly, like a final heartbeat closing out a long, brutal chapter, and in the quiet that follows, the courtroom doesn't feel like a battlefield anymore. It feels like aftermath. Landon stands frozen for a moment, unsure where to look or what to do. Without the armor of arrogance, he seems smaller, almost unrecognizable from the young man who strutted in earlier, dripping confidence like cologne. Now he's stripped to the core. No bravado, no jokes, no cameras to charm, just Consequence. The bailiff gestures toward the exit. This way, sir. But before he moves, Maya steps down from her podium. Her footsteps are soft, careful, controlled. She doesn't walk toward him. She simply crosses the room to retrieve her documents, but the motion disrupts him. He watches her with guilt-torn eyes. As though realizing the full weight of the person he harmed, she glances his direction, once gently. Not with anger, not with triumph, with humanity. Thank you, she says quietly, for the apology. Landon swallows hard. I meant it, he murmurs. I didn't know how much damage I caused until I saw it from your side. Maya nods, accepting the truth without softening it. Just do better. For the next person you meet. For yourself. Her words land softer than the verdict, but cut deeper. Evelyn rises from the witness stand, smoothing her blazer with trembling hands. She approaches Maya first. Ms. Torres, I am so sorry for everything my son put you through. I will ensure payment is made immediately. Her voice cracks on the last word. Maya offers a small, respectful bow of her head. Thank you. Only then does Evelyn turn to her son. For a moment, mother and child stand inches apart, separated by years of unspoken expectations and unchecked privilege. Evelyn lifts a hand, slowly, hesitantly, resting it on his cheek. He leans into it like someone starved for affection. I still love you, she whispers. But love without accountability isn't kindness. I should have realized that sooner. Landon nods, eyes glistening. I know. I'm ready to fix things, really fix them. Evelyn studies him, searching for sincerity. And this time, she finds it. She squeezes his shoulder once before stepping aside. Finally, the courtroom empties, leaving behind only the echo of the gavel and the faint hum of cameras powering down. Judy gathers her files, her expression unreadable for a moment, until she glances toward the doorway where Landon just exited. A faint, contemplative sigh escapes her. The trouble with arrogance, she murmurs to no one in particular, is that it convinces you the world will forgive you before you've earned forgiveness. She closes the case file with quiet finality. Truth, she says softly, always arrives on time, even if humility shows up late. The lights in the courtroom dim as the cameras fade to black. In the end, Landon didn't fall because he made a mistake. He fell because he believed he'd never have to answer for one. But in Judy's courtroom, ego collapses, and consequence always comes calling.